Hey guys, we just got PPI data. Yesterday was CPI. We're going to talk about those. We also have another company announcing a Bitcoin strategy, and their planned purchase is pretty large. And then we're going to look at an insanely, and I emphasize insanely, bullish price target of $1 million by the cycle's end. What do I think about that? Where would that bring Bitcoin's market cap in relation to other assets? We're going to find out. Now, first off, PPI, the forecast was 2.6%. That's what we got. This is an increase over the last month's read, and also we saw a revision to 2.5 from 2.4, getting further away from the 2% goal of the Fed. Now, CPI that dropped the other day came in at 2.4 when the forecast was 2.5, but this is still growth month over month. A little tick up from what we have seen lately of these reads coming down. This is the first tick up for a few reads. And these recent releases, probably along with jobs data, has slightly changed the Fed watch tool probabilities. In the meeting coming out next week, there's pretty much a snowball chance in hell of getting a rate cut. Same with the next meeting. This has increased, but it's still very unlikely at 23.9%. I believe the other day this was like 18%. In September, the probability of a rate cut has improved, actually. Now nearly a 60% chance of a 25 basis point cut, with a 23.7% chance of leaving rates where they are by this point. And going to the end of the year, the market is most anticipating 2 rate cuts or 50 basis points worth of cuts, with the next most likely outcome 3 cuts or 75 basis points worth of cuts. We do have another company today announcing a Bitcoin strategy, and this one's pretty large. $800 million to be raised for a Bitcoin treasury by Mercurity fintech. And as said by their CEO, we're building this Bitcoin treasury reserve based on our belief that Bitcoin will become an essential component of the future financial infrastructure. We are positioning our company to be a key player in the evolving digital financial ecosystem. Now, if fully raised and implemented today and here at current prices, this would be 7,433 Bitcoin, which would make them, Mercurity, the 11th largest Bitcoin holder, passing GameStop with their 4,710 Bitcoin. Now, they're also expected to be included into the Russell 2000 and 3000, according to the 2025 reconstitution list. They were previously listed in the Russell Microcap Index. And regarding that, their CEO says, moving from the Russell Microcap to the 2000 shows that investors recognize the value we're creating in blockchain finance. Our Bitcoin Treasury Reserve initiative is the next logical step in this evolution. This list of companies getting onto the Bitcoin bandwagon is only going to grow. We now have 139 entities. This involves publicly traded companies, ETFs, private companies, all buying Bitcoin. And this is now 15.7% of the total supply of Bitcoin. Soon it will be 20%. These companies will hold 1/5 of all the Bitcoin. And here is the list of the top holders. Bitcoin miners take up a lot of the top spots. Some of the largest names are putting themselves in a fantastic position, and these Bitcoin holdings can be utilized. They don't have to just sit on their balance sheet. These companies can use them to take out loans against it. They can sell covered calls like CleanSpark is doing to gain premium along the way. And as the supply of Bitcoin continues to shrink, these largest holders of Bitcoin are positioning themselves very well, let's just say. Brandon Green expects Bitcoin bull run to be extended with a $1 million price by the cycle's end. Now, if you guys watched my previous video, you know how I feel about that. Now, Brandon Green, which is BTC Inc.'s chief of staff, believes that the 4-year cycle is broken. Instead of a 1-year recess, as seen amid the 4-year cycle, he predicts a consistent face-melting Bitcoin run until the market hits a credit contraction cycle, potentially toward the end of Donald Trump's administration. He believes more publicly traded companies will join the Bitcoin reserve bandwagon, and these corporate Bitcoin treasury firms popping up basically in every capital market in the world. Michael Saylor also suggests that crypto winter is gone. After this cycle, possibly an extended one as said by Brandon Green, he believes Bitcoin can see $1 million per Bitcoin by the end of 2026, maybe into early 2027, and Bitcoin looks primed to hit that price when the cycle finally ends. Now, if Bitcoin were to run to $1 million, where would that put it market cap wise? It would put it at the top of this list, if not just a few 100 billion, maybe a trillion away from gold. From Bitcoin's inception, it has taken it this long to get to a $2 trillion market cap. As this cycle finishes, can we pass Google, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft? I think these are all possible, but getting to gold's market cap, doing a 10x in market cap from here, a $2 trillion market cap, let's get our heads out of the clouds for a second. Now, I zoomed out for you guys to show you basically where this price target is and the timeline. Here's $1 million Bitcoin roughly. And just for this to show up on the chart, I had to essentially flatten out Bitcoin's price. You know that Bitcoin is very volatile. It looks very flat. It looks relatively flat to even show this on the chart. Let me remind you guys of the last cycle. People were saying the same thing. Maybe not $1 million price target, but people were saying, oh, Bitcoin can easily see 100,000 this cycle. Maybe it'll get to 200,000 this cycle, 300,000 this cycle. It didn't even reach 100,000. And it was the same narrative. It was this whole, well, there's global adoption. Companies are starting to buy Bitcoin. If you guys don't know, Tesla was first investing into Bitcoin. This is partly why it ran so much, in my opinion. They announced a buy and it basically skyrocketed after that, if you guys remember that cycle. And coincidentally, they also announced selling Bitcoin, and that kind of marked the end, or that marked a massive pullback at the time at the very least. The narrative never changes. There's always going to be people that bet against the 4-year cycle, and I'm not saying I know everything. Maybe one day the 4-year cycle changes drastically. I do suspect that future crypto winters, even this next one, will be not like the previous ones we've seen where you're talking about a 70-80% drop. I think that is very unlikely at this point in Bitcoin's adoption phase. Can Bitcoin, after a run to 150K, drop 50% and drop it to 75,000 over the next bear market? I think that is more than possible. As Bitcoin's price goes up, buyers become incentivized to be sellers. There's a certain point when Bitcoin runs so much that buyers are less incentivized to buy. People are saying, oh, it's too hot. It's too overbought. Maybe technicals, it's looking like it's due to cool down. Technical traders start betting against it. People holding Bitcoin see how much gains they have made in a short amount of time, and they're incentivized to sell, and the cycle continues. I'm telling you, I was one of the people last cycle that thought maybe the 4-year cycle is over. Bitcoin one day will hit $1 million, but it will not do it this quickly. That is not going to happen. Even if we do see a bull run into 2027, I think a $1 million Bitcoin is very unlikely, and that's even ignoring the 4-year cycle typical pattern that Bitcoin has always had since its inception. But what do you guys think? Do you think Bitcoin will just spike for the next 2 years, go to $1 million, and crypto winters are always done from now? I mean, just recently we had 30-40% pullbacks, and that's in a bull run. So just remember, you know, as price continues pushing up, there's going to be these people that say it's going to go much higher. Just take a level approach with it. In my opinion, the cycle is worth following. I do plan to sell my Bitcoin derivatives, but I will always hold my Bitcoin. They're not going to kick me out regardless of a bear market or not. I'm just going to continue to buy and hold. But let me know what you guys think. Is Bitcoin going to have a future bear market? Is it just going to always go up and to the right? Do you hear how ridiculous that sounds? There are going to be pullbacks. Bitcoin is volatile. Don't let that narrative fool you. This narrative comes along every cycle where it's like, well, there's adoption. There's so many states and yada, yada, yada getting into Bitcoin. This cycle is broken. I'm not buying it. Are we going to have 70-80% drops during bear markets? I don't think so. But you also got to realize that means diminishing returns. The fact that Bitcoin fell all the way to 15K in the last bear market, that's what gave us so multiples this cycle. If last bear market Bitcoin only dropped to 50K, we would have only been looking at a double throughout this whole time. So the point of that is embrace the drops. The lower it goes, the better. The more multiples you'll get. You should be rooting for Bitcoin to go down. I'd much rather buy it at 50K. Then 150K, then 500K, then $1 million. As Bitcoin gets older and grows in adoption, its gains will be diminished. And of course, its drops will be too. It will kind of stabilize as an asset. But we like that volatility. That volatility is what brings us more multiples. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this $1 million price target. Are we going to see it? Or is it going to take a couple cycles? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.